Hello, friends. Welcome to the Cinemondo podcast.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. Good to be back. It's good to be doing trailer reactions. And, we do a lot of the mainstream stuff. We do some really offbeat things, some Indian cinema. We're traveling to the Great White North. Quebec. Up to Quebec.
Way up there.
Yeah.
Beyond the wall.
Yeah. Exactly. Beyond the 20-foot wall. A film called Dusk for a Hitman, which is a French-Canadian film directed by Raymond St-Jean and starring Éric Bruneau. And, it's called Dusk for a Hitman. So obviously we're talking about somebody who likes to kill people.
Hitman, yes.
Around dinner time,
It sounds like an alternate title for that movie that we watched recently called Knox Goes Away.
We just did that. Yeah,
I know that could be the other title for it. Dusk for a Hitman.
That's true, because the lights are going out.
Yeah.
Right?
Things are sort of going away for his, what he does for a living. But we're going to check out the trailer because it sounds interesting. It's getting some good early write-ups, so we'd like to give it a shout out. So
Is it about how AI is sort of taking over everybody's job?
Definitely not.
And it's like this guy's a hitman, and it's like, damn, another job taken by AI.
Another job. You know what I like about this trailer, and I haven't seen it yet, but I read the synopsis, is that it's set in the 70s. So what I love about that, it's set in the 70s, which is already fucking great.
Yeah.
And number two, there's no technology. So I love the analog quality of the 70s, the fashion of the 70s, the hair, everything. So I cannot wait. And Hitman. I love Hitman. So this sounds like a good, very intriguing trailer to me.
Cell phones and internet ruined crime drama, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's always like no cell service. What? That's always
it always has to
have a reason why it doesn't work.
It always has to be out in the middle of nowhere,
But here, your car breaks down, you're screwed. You got to find a phone. There's great things to be had in the non-technology age. So let's take a look at this trailer.
Okay, let's check it out.
And here we go. And roll that trailer.
Oh. Rated R.
But it's not a red banner.
No, it's not.
Oh, love it already. God.
Found it so easy. Money.
Those collars.
Power. Respect. I wasn't born to kill. I was ordered.
A hammer.
Yeah.
Analog.
Personne d'autre qui est au courant. Je sais que toi, je peux te truster.
Inquiète-toi pas avec mon cul.
Oh, enfin? T'étais où?
Look, honey, I brought you a shelf.
Yeah.
Un job.
C'est ton frère. Tu devrais y parler.
Fais-moi travailler dans ta gang.
Oh boy.
Une vie pour toi. Y'a pas une scène d'honneur. Le gars.
That's all you had to say.
Yeah.
Ton frère, il est pas très stable, Donald. C'est le temps de faire un exemple.
Demande-moi pas ça. Money. Power. Respect. Pourquoi je fais tout ça de bord?
Tu le fais pour toi, Donald.
Passez le bord! J'ai pas fini avec!
Money. Power. Respect.
That's a great face.
C'est lui. C'est moi.
All right.
So
my God.
It really captured the look of the 70s, which, you can really, sometimes it just doesn't work, and you just go,
Yeah.
they don't catch it. It doesn't look that way. But this felt like, okay, that felt like it was filmed in 1977.
Yeah, the
or whatever.
quality of the film, like it just had this sort of grittiness to it. The lighting just
The
felt
cold.
kind of freaking cool. Yeah, and I love the wintry feel to it and the gray skies. Oh,
It had that look of the, you know, the leather and mustaches look of something like the 7-Ups or the 70s version of Gone in
Yes.
60 Seconds. You know, the
Oh.
7-Ups is a film that not enough people have seen that movie. That's a classic. Just look. I mean, they need to study that film before you make a 70s crime drama.
Right.
But
But
it's
it had that vibe, you know.
yeah, the snowy, cold kind of northern David Cronenberg-ish
Yes.
looking setting.
Right.
The guy running through the snow and out in those dead trees and things like
Yeah.
that. It has that look of the 70s films that we love that were made in New York. You know, those
Yes, very New York.
cold New York films.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, you know, Frenchmen in 70s outfits speaking French, yelling, don't sound scary at all to me. It sounds very nice.
I know.
It's like,
It's
I
just
just
too
love
classy
that.
of a language.
And I love the idea of like, we have the hitman who, you know, has to be a disaster because he's a hitman, but then
Right.
also his brother who's a bigger mess
Right.
than him. So he's like, oh, I gotta save my brother who's a bigger mess than me. So you're like,
Right.
this is a
Huge
great idea.
mistake.
Two super dysfunctional people trying to figure stuff out. Just like, oh no,
Right.
this would be so
Don't bring Fredo into the business.
Don't
you
do
know?
it.
Exactly.
bad. But he's
You'll break his heart, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
This looks so fun.
You broke my heart.
He broke my heart. But this
It's
looks
a-
really fun to me.
Yeah,
It
it
looks-
looks pretty cool. It's got that feel. It's got the you know, the crime, that sort of I'm in a tough place kind of crime. The film noir thing where you set up the problem happens. Now what are you gonna do?
Yeah, like, it
that
gets
kind
worse.
of story. Yeah, it just gets worse.
It gets worse and worse. The more
One
you try to
little
fix it,
mistake.
because you can't trust your brother who's a complete like wild card. So you're going to take him
Yeah.
on a mission. Who knows what the hell's going to happen? Like, you know, you're going to play it tight and try and keep it together, but you don't know what's he going to do? You know, I feel
Right.
like that's where you're going to be like in trouble, you know.
Yeah.
It's not gonna
Yeah.
be good.
Just don't do it. Just
Don't do it. But
Yeah.
you know, he had to help his brother. And then I love the idea of like he's in all that conflict, and then he has to now possibly testify, you know, against the mob boss and use his brother. And
Right.
oh my God, it looks like. And what I like too is they didn't push the 70s look too hard, because sometimes
Right.
when they have the 70s, the guy you can tell they're wearing wigs. This guy was
Yeah.
not wearing a wig. You could tell the mustaches, everything's like too much. It's a little too pressed and precious. This
Right.
looked like he lived in the outfits. He had his real hair that didn't
Right.
always look perfect.
Right.
And then the aviator glasses, which have never not looked cool, always good, but they're also great. So, and just his whole attitude, he really embodied it. I thought that was really fun.
You're right. Sometimes when people do 70s, it turns out looking like that Sabotage video by the Beastie Boys. You know?
Yeah, or it's just like, you know, every 70s tune that you don't want to hear anymore is played,
Right.
you know, the soundtrack, you know, okay, it's
Yeah.
the classic stuff, which I don't have anything against, but I think this is sort of like more real. And I also just think French Quebec
Yeah.
versus like French, it's
Yeah.
a
Right.
different, there's a you know, I think I'm right in saying this, there's a little harder edge there because it's just a different sort of, just a little tougher, you know.
You know, I
and
would like
yeah.
to see a French film about Hitman. I would like to see this movie
Oh,
as a
they-
French film. French
There
France
are
film.
such things.
I
yeah.
want to see them. It
Yeah.
reminds me of the God, what was that French series? Now I'm blanking on it. That I watched like The Bureau.
Lu-
Like
oh.
love
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that super like street level, you know, French filmmaking about the spies, what they're really like, not the James Bond spies, but what's really like you know, collecting
Oh, yeah,
intel and stuff.
that's
Oh
right.
my God. It
Listen-
kind of reminded me a little bit of this. It was set like probably I think the 90s. But
Right.
it still had that sort of just barely into the technology, just starting to make it happen, you know, but just loved it. So we have a poster. Let's take a look.
Cool.
Check it out.
Very okay. So they're, you know, the car and the outfit and his hair. That's all that matters really for this.
Right.
They made it like they have a little bit of a hint of 70s feel with the stripes. You know, they have the backgrounds just like an inset. They didn't go too hard on it. Again, they're not trying to. I think the problem here when you have movies like this, they're afraid people will think it's a old movie and people won't want to watch it. So they have to make sure it looks modern enough. So you're kind of walking a tightrope of people like the kind of retro feel, but also they don't want to repel people who are like, it looks old, you know. So it's,
Right.
they did a good job of that. And I like how they have the gun. The gun is the tiniest gun I've ever seen. A tiny gun in his hand, sort of de-emphasized against the car because guns are dicey and anyway, so when you're doing a poster, you have to, the only way to show guns now is this way, pointed down, just in a passive.
Yeah, and it is kind of hidden. I actually didn't see that until you pointed it out, so
so they're kind of, they're hitting all the notes of like being sensitive to all the new rules when it comes to movie posters and filmmaking. But I think it's a pretty good poster because really it's all about him.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm not sure about that tagline, the hunter becomes the hunted. That's a little overused. It's kind of a cliche, but
I actually liked what they said it had in the trailer, which was, if you want to get out, you've got to go all in or something like that. That's a little bit more kind of like what I think the story is probably like.
Yeah.
But
I think
anyway.
the lyrics to the Carpet Crawlers by Genesis.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, you got to get in to get
Oh,
out.
no, that's funny.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Which
I
is
think, you want to make a copy line that's super obvious because they didn't give us a lot of information in the poster. Like you just have a car and a guy from the 70s. So I think they really wanted to emphasize that he is a hitman, but he's now, being hunted.
There's a great 70s French crime drama called The Conformist from 1970 that you should check out. That's a real
that sounds good.
A real good sort of Paris crime thriller from 1970 about an assassination. It's like,
Oh, that sounds cool.
it's got a little political edge to it, but it's about an assassin, and it is so 70s great, but the Parisian
Even better.
Also,
Yeah.
this is a British film, but everybody knows Day of the Jackal, but it's set in France.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that's another one, so
That's
that's
true.
also a great
Yeah, the
one.
Jackal is great. Yeah.
So a lot of great Hitman 70s style movies here for you guys to watch. As you
Right,
get
right.
psyched for
So-
the Hunter.
And the movie is coming out on April 19th. So that's the release date.
Oh, and also it's based on a true story.
Oh, wow.
Oh, really? Cool.
It is based on a real person.
Interesting.
Yep. So there you go. That's even
Cool.
makes it grittier. And that to me, when you base on real people, that does ground it more because you can go kind of like going a little crazy with your narrative, but they keep it really like that sort of small, limited cast.
Right.
You can tell it's like they're going to keep the concept pretty tight because it's going to be him testifying, they
Right.
put him under, so you never know.
Well, sometimes with real stories, with the true stories, if they stick to them close enough, they stick to them in the quality of the placement of the story in reality, as opposed to some movies where you see them and you enjoy them, but you kind of know where they're going and you kind of know what's coming because it's a story. It's a first act, second act, third act. It has to resolve. It has to do this and this. But with something that's based on reality, you don't know the story, so you don't know what it was that happened in the story to make it a story.
Right.
And it could be that somebody busts into the courtroom with a machine gun, or somebody is killed right in front of hit by a car. Some unexpected thing, could happen that could become the story.
That's right.
That you wouldn't necessarily see in a
Right, because it's a true truth is stranger than fiction kind of a
yeah.
thing.
And you can't, it's like you can't write that. That's not the kind of story you can write. No writer could write it.
Right.
But
It's unexpected, because the turns are not going to be movie tropes; they're going to be real life tropes, and those are you never know where that's going to go.
yeah, if they stayed true to the trueness of
The trueness of the story.
And who knows? Maybe we'll do a review of the film.
We should
sometime.
review this movie for sure. There's no, you cannot keep me away from this movie. Too
Yeah.
good. All right.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Dusk for a Hitman coming soon. Okay, take care.